Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Zach from OnCashflow.com, and in this video I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know about Barista FIRE. Alright, so let's first off start by defining what Barista FIRE is. So Barista FIRE is a subset of FIRE, and FIRE means Financial Independence, Retire Early. So Barista FIRE is a subcategory of FIRE, but with this particular type of retirement, you're actually going to still work part-time. So you're going to still retire and utilize the 4% withdrawal rule. And the 4% withdrawal rule is basically where you withdraw 4% or less of your assets per year, the value of your assets per year. And that money, those assets are supposed to last you for the rest of your life. So in Barista FIRE, you're still going to follow that rule. You're still going to withdraw 4% or less of your assets. But you might have a smaller asset base than if you were to be following traditional financial independence path. So with Barista FIRE, you're going to supplement some of that 4% income with part-time income. And the whole idea of Barista FIRE actually derives from a job that's like a little bit easier but might have great benefits. So it's thought to have derived from actually working at Starbucks. So people that want to quit like their long hour, very difficult, time-consuming job, they want to quit that and maybe work somewhere easier, like a lot quicker than waiting for many years until they acquire enough assets in order to retire like the traditional financial independence retire way. They can actually instead do it much faster because they're going to have part-time work income to supplement their withdrawals from their asset base. So the reason why it's derived from Starbucks is that Starbucks offers, they're known to offer very generous benefits, even for their part-time employees. The main one being healthcare, which everyone is worried about the price of healthcare. And so by working like an easier job, what's thought to be an easier job at Starbucks as a barista, you could then get your healthcare paid for by only working, I believe it's 20 hours a week. So just by working part-time at a place like Starbucks, you could get full-time benefits but only have to work part-time. Plus you have that supplemental part-time income coming in. So you can see that Barista FIRE, that's where it's derived from. But it doesn't actually mean that you have to become a barista in order to Barista FIRE. The same concept works with pretty much any part-time job, even if the benefits aren't as great as it would be working at Starbucks. And speaking of benefits, what are the benefits of Barista FIRE? Well, the first main benefit of Barista FIRE is that you get to retire much earlier. So because you're going to have that part-time work income coming in, supplementing your withdrawals from your assets, you're going to need a lot. You're not going to need as much of a large asset base. So you can have less saved up in assets or less invested. Compared to if you were going to completely rely on income from the 4% withdrawal rule. For example, if you're withdrawing 4% from $1 million, that would be $40,000 per year. So you'd have to accumulate $1 million in order to have $40,000 worth of annual spending. But with Barista FIRE, say you only need $20,000 from your asset base and the other $20,000 comes from your part-time work. So you still have that $40,000 a year for your spending, but instead half of it's coming from work income and half of it is coming from your asset base. So this means that you only need to accumulate $500,000 instead of $1 million. And obviously we can see that acquiring $500,000 is going to be a lot easier than acquiring $1 million, and you should be able to do it a lot faster, provided that you are actually investing regularly and a large amount. Alright, the second benefit of Barista FIRE is that you still get more control over your time. So while you don't get complete control over your time because you're still kind of relying on part-time income, so you still would be employed, whether that be with an employer or self-employed or whatever, you're still going to have some less control over your time because you have to make up the difference with work income, but you do have a lot more control over your time. So in a sense, you have more control over your time because less time of it is required to be at work or earning money. And another benefit of Barista FIRE is that the work that you do, you can actually be passionate about it. because money isn't the number one priority when it comes to the work that you're doing. So that leaves a lot more flexibility for you to choose what you want to work on. There are a lot of part-time jobs that are really flexible. A lot of part-time jobs might not be super lucrative, but it doesn't matter as much to you since you will still have a somewhat sizable asset base to withdraw from, and you just need this part-time income to supplement that. So because of it, you get to work in something that you're a lot more passionate about. For example, if you are passionate about working with children, teaching them sports, you could work part-time teaching sports to children, and that could be a good source of income for you, maybe a smaller source of income, but it could be enough to fill the gap that you need just through that part-time work. So a question that you might have about Barista FIRE is, how much do you need to be considered Barista FIRE? And of course that answer does depend. It's going to depend a lot on how much income you're going to make from your part-time job, and it's going to depend on how much of an asset base you have. So we are still going to apply the 4% rule to Barista FIRE. So whatever amount of assets that you have that are worth, you can withdraw no more than 4% of that per year. So if you have built up $500,000, for example, and you withdraw 4% of that per year, you would get about $20,000. Now, if your annual spending is $40,000, then you're going to need another $20,000 from your part-time work. Now, one or the other could be more or less depending on your situation, but you're going to have to go ahead and evaluate your personal goals, how much that you want to invest, and how much you want to build up an asset base, and how much you expect to make during your part-time job. Some part-time jobs can be very lucrative, others can be not so lucrative. So it's really going to depend on your situation. So you do need to plan a little bit more for that if you want to become Barista FIRE. Okay, beyond just how much you need to become Barista FIRE, another question you might have is, why would you want to become Barista FIRE in the first place? Why not just go all the way to regular FIRE and be done with it? And there are a few reasons for that. If you want to pursue Barista FIRE, one reason might be you just want more free time. So working 40 hours a week plus, it might be too demanding on you for your liking. You might still want to work, but just at a slower pace or less hours. Like I said before, going from 40 hours to 20 hours, that's half the time. That's a big increase in your amount of free time that you have to pursue whatever you want to pursue. And in addition to that, some people just like to have a schedule, like a work schedule or structure in their life. So a part-time job will give you some kind of structure or some kind of schedule in your life. So if you still want to work, but you do also want some more free time, Barista FIRE might be for you. Now, another reason why you might want to pursue Barista FIRE is that you just want to do something you're passionate about and earn an income from it. There are many hobbies, there are many passions that you might have that could earn you a decent income, or at least one that could supplement withdrawals from your assets so you can become Barista FIRE. So if that's something that you want to keep in mind, that if you want to do something you're passionate about, maybe for many years to come, and it could provide you with some source of income, then you don't have to wait all the way until the end, until you're completely financially independent. You could start a lot sooner if you're going to go the Barista FIRE route. Another good reason why you might want to Barista FIRE is for the benefits. So Barista FIRE did originate from the thought of great benefits from a part-time job, mainly from Starbucks. So Starbucks, you could be a barista, maybe it's a little easier of a job, you work less hours, a little more flexible, but you get full-time benefits even as a part-time employee. So that's another good reason why you might want to Barista FIRE. Working part-time, it might be worth it for you if you get those benefits that would otherwise cost you a lot out of pocket. And another reason why you might want to pursue Barista FIRE is obviously you can Barista FIRE a lot faster than you can for regular FIRE, but that doesn't mean that you don't have to forget about regular FIRE altogether. What you could do instead is you could actually coast your way to regular FIRE while being Barista FIRE. And what I mean by that is that you can build up a sizable asset base, and the return on your investments could be enough to eventually bring your asset base up to support all of your income. Now, to do this, you would have to have a part-time job that is able to replace your annual spending all on its own, while your assets are able to grow through the magic of compound interest that allow them to grow and then eventually be worth enough to replace your income altogether. So deciding if Barista FIRE is right for you, at the end of the day, what you have to ask yourself is what's going to make you more happy? What's going to be better for your situation? Barista FIRE, it can be done a lot faster, and it has a lot of other benefits like I've talked about over traditional FIRE, but traditional FIRE is also something that's very worthwhile. So you're going to have to weigh the pros and cons for your individual situation to see what might be better for you. But there's no doubt that Barista FIRE is a good choice for a lot of people. Thanks for watching, guys. I am Zach from OnCashflow.com. But before you leave, I want you to click the link in the description below. And there's a good reason for this. So I've actually written a full article on what is Barista FIRE. And it talks about some of the same concepts that I talk about in this video, but a lot more in depth. And I actually include figures and some nice little math for you to give you very specific examples of Barista FIRE. So please go ahead and check that out. Thanks for watching.